sort of thinking while I was driving here. Last week I was at the multi-purpose center and I saw a little crack on the ceiling, and I said, "What's going to happen when Gerry leaves?"
Gerry who?
Gerry Byrne. When he leaves, I said he's done such a good job of making sure that the multi-purpose center and all our facilities are clean, well maintained. Since Gerry is leaving as Commissioner of Parks, I thought that we all thought that it would make sense to make sure that that center stays clean, well maintained, doesn't fall apart. So we figured the best way of making sure that happens is to name the building for Gerry. So I'd like to make a motion that we rename the Anthony Veteran Park Multi-Purpose Center.
Why don't you take the resolution?
Right, and let me just read the
TD4. TD4
right,
is what we have to
TD4.
TV4.
TB4,
Yes.
naming the multi-purpose center at Anthony Veteran Park, the Gerry Byrne Center, and authorizing the appropriate ceremony to be planned and scheduled accordingly. And it says there
Second.
is under section 4.
That was a motion, right?
That was a
Bill?
motion.
You wanna make a motion?
I'd like to make the motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. So just
I just want to make sure everyone knows that's the Gerard J. Byrne.
Gerard.
Yes, Gerard.
Yes.
So Gerry has served as Deputy Commissioner of Parks and Recreation from July 1986 to March 1989, and then was promoted to Commissioner of Parks and Recreation for the town of Greenberg, serving from March 8th, 1989 to the present, with over 37 years full-time for the town Parks and Recreation Department.
Can't keep a job.
So he's retiring after a 44-year career, with the Parks Department. He was born and raised in Greenberg. He attended Ardsley schools. He was a seasonal worker for one summer with the Department of Parks, Public Works, and 2 summers with the Department of Parks and Recreation. He attended Eastern Illinois University and the University of Illinois from 1974 to 1982, earning both his undergraduate and graduate degree in Parks and Recreation Administration. Gerry, prior to returning to Greenberg in 1986, worked for the Mundelein Park and Recreation District and Champaign Park District, obtaining valuable experience in public recreation programming, administration, and conservation. I was just saying Champaign Park District. We have a ban on alcohol here, but so that's why
It's not our park.
You can talk about it, though.
Whereas and Gerry Byrne served as Chief Administrator of Parks and Recreation. He was involved in planning, promoting, and administering a comprehensive parks and recreation program that included 45 parks, 4 park preserves, 30 tennis courts, 6 multi-purpose sports fields, 7 outdoor pools, a cricket pitch, and 10 pickleball courts.
And I was just going to say that.
When Gerry first took office, the town had only 233 acres of parkland. Now we have 634 acres of parkland, including Bob Gold Parklet, East Irvington Park Preserve, Glenville Woods, Hartsbrook Preserve, and Taxter Ridge Park Preserve. And Gerry was very instrumental in getting the town to acquire all those parks. He advocated for and persuaded the town board in 1998 to build the Anthony Veteran Park Multi-Purpose Center using town parkland funds, and that center opened in 2000. He served as liaison to the local boards of education, the Theater Young Community Center, the Greenberg Nature Center, and other service-oriented organizations related to parks and recreation. And he also worked with town officials, residents, and staff, improving programming for tennis, cricket. We were the first community in Westchester to have a cricket field, pickleball, and he developed and expanded special events such as senior events, Celebrate Greenberg, Spooktoberfest, and Breakfast with Santa. He oversaw numerous capital improvement projects such as the construction of the multipurpose center, playgrounds, community gardens, ball fields, interactive spray pads and pools, a dog park, archery range, pickleball courts, and a cricket pitch. And I just thought, and we didn't even put this in, the resolution went a number of years ago. Everybody said we would need to spend like $9 million on getting a new pool, and Gerry was trying to help us save money. So we put a liner, and for like $100,000, we saved like almost $9 million. So that's the type of innovation and creativity that he provided us with. So the Parks and Recreation Advisory Board on October 4th recommended that we name the multipurpose center the Gerry Byrne Center, and it was unanimously endorsed by board members, and the town board also unanimously, agreed. I think this is like one of the first things we agreed to all year. So I would just like to thank you for your service and welcome you as a volunteer.
Gerry, please, come on up.
You could say something.
You want to say something
You want to say
first?
something first? Okay.
Good evening, everybody. I'm very humble with being bestowed this honor. Having been born and raised in the town of Greenburgh, this is a very, very special community.
Speak into the mic.
Is it? Can you hear me? Well, in July of 1986, my wife Susan, who's here now, I told her we're going to go back to Greenburgh for like 5 years. I'm going to go back to the Midwest. Well, 37 and a half years later, we're still here. And
Not going anywhere.
I could not have done what I've done without her. She was a full-time mom. I mean, she was a mother raising her 2 children. She was a full-time journalist during this whole time. Whenever I had a major paper to write or something to come, she's always been my editor. And without her, I could not have accomplished this, along with the great boards that I've worked with over the years, the advisory board, community residents, and our outstanding staff, because they have just been tremendous. I look back, and I've had served under 2 supervisors and 15 council members. So I've had 17 bosses over the years. And I have to say, they've always treated me well, and I hope I gain the respect from them by always providing quality public services for our residents. So it's been an honor. I'm sure at a later date we can have a formal ceremony or something, but it's just, it's been a pleasure. I leave knowing this department is in great hands. We have an outstanding staff. My management team, especially Joe LaCasey, Noel Broccoli, and the rest of the team, they're just fantastic. Along with our full-time workers, it's amazing. I'm leaving at the same time, and we honored her last Monday night. We have Janet Lefkowitz here, who Larry and Janet moved into the community in 1964, and they're another pillars of our community that have done so much and given their time unselfishly. You can tell my wife's a journalist. Yeah. And Janet, has served us, for 40 years, and it's just amazing. She is just, the things we've done for this community, without her, it just would not have happened. And we'll talk about that later tonight with the sport time agreement. But I just want to thank the board. It's been a great run, and I wish you all the best, and God bless.
Don't go anywhere.
You didn't get away quick enough.
You too. Okay, just have a few slides. So thank you. Did you spell your name right?
This is for you.
It was on Helen. It was on Ray Ellis. No, hold on.
We'll look at Sue first. One camera at a time.
Paul, move.
Joe,
I'd also like to,
Wait. We have comments about him.
oh, okay.
Where do we begin?
We don't, no. It'll be 45 minutes.
Who wants to start? I'll start.
Oh, you only have 2 minutes.
Gerry. I said at the what was it, the advisory board night that I would wait till today, and you thought I was going to roast you, but I know you're not feeling 100%, so I'm not really going to do that. I'm just going to tell the truth. The truth is that the reason why we have the parks and open space we have is because Gerry is absolutely relentless when it comes to Parks and Rec. There is nothing he will not do to promote Parks and Rec. I'll give you a recent example. There's this indoor-outdoor facility called Sport Time.
Yes.
You may have heard about it, particularly those of you in Parks and Rec. And we all were hoping to have this very dense, complex contract, 2 of them as a matter of fact, done so that we could celebrate it with the retirement of, not that we're celebrating a retirement, now I realize how that sounds, at the end of the year. But Gerry really wanted, after so many years, almost a decade, dealing with, can we put up the bubble, and faced with litigation and then having to get state legislation, he weathered all of that. And it was getting close to December 31st, and there were still very substantial issues with the contract, including up to Friday or Saturday, right? Well, let me go back 1 month prior to that. There was another really important contract, somewhat related to Parks and Rec, that we really needed to have information from. But, and you may never admit this, but when we asked you for information about that other project, you didn't quite have time. Those of us on the other side realized you wanted us to focus solely on Sports Time. And so we did. But you still eventually gave us the information about, I don't want to say what the project was, but it's something on Dobbs Ferry Road, and it used to be a golf course. But I don't want to say what it is. But that would have bogged us down tremendously. That's the kind of person Gerry is. We're going to get both done. Sports Time, we probably accelerated by 6 months of what a normal approval would be. But that's Gerry. Another thing about Gerry is he is the ultimate politician, because he knows to invite the town board to parks when? Right before the what?
Budget is approved.
The budget is approved, and show us exponential number of slides about what has gone on in the last 300 years of the park system. No, actually just 1 year. I think the most was about 200 slides. It started when he was born. And of course, I was accused of heckling after a while. And then Joe Lucchese, one of the reasons why Joe Lucchese is going to, well, I guess I'm not supposed to announce that yet, but what Joe Lucchese is, Joe decided, hey, he's my boss, but I'm going to take all those slides and put it into a video, and it's going to be timed out 3 seconds per slide, and we'll get through this thing in about 6 seconds, right? Very efficient. But it didn't take me long to realize that that's an effective way of convincing the board right before the budget, so I couldn't fault him at all, and I'm really surprised other department heads haven't done that as well. So when you look at the parks, when you look at open space, when you look at during the pandemic, where Parks and Rec and Joe Lucchese with the drone, and they created these very serene videos going through Hartsbrook when we were all panicking from the pandemic and people dying and we're losing people. They created videos of reminding us what it was like to walk through the park with not a worry in the world. That's Gerry Byrne. That's the Parks and Rec. And so, Gerry, I'm not going to roast you. I'm just going to reveal your secrets as to how you got things done. And I hope you're not a stranger. And we absolutely know the role that your wife played in so many ways. And now when you say, I actually have to be at town hall, she'll know that's not true. I wish you well.
Joe, I know in the same event that I guess last week or 2 weeks ago, the time is like this, I can't remember. I will say I'm very appreciative of this last 4 years that you have really saw my vision and giving back to the community by, doing the summer festivals and bringing Juneteenth to Greenberg. And every step of the way, you were right there along my side. You called me when you thought I was forgetting something or making sure that that box was checked, and you were right there. And I truly, truly appreciate all your support. I appreciate you really taking your passion for the love of parks, and wherever that park is located, you have given each and every park the same attention to that park, and I'm so, so appreciative to you. I promised your wife that we will be enrolling you in the next class. It's a 3-month class while she's away on the beach, a 3-month class to work with parks and recreation, just in case you want to keep up that spirit of, making sure that you are involved. But with all jokes aside, I know that there are big shoes to fill, but I know the person who's going to come behind you and fill them will do a phenomenal job. And as one of my close girlfriends says to me, is they will rock the cash bar. Rock the cash bar. But I just want to wish you all the best. I know that you are just a phone call away, a text away, and I know you're going to be watching and making sure that we continue to have that same passion that you have and put into the park system. So thank you so much for your, I shorted you by 5 years. I had you done at 32 years. So thank you so much for 37 years, my age. Don't say anything, Lisa. My age. But everything that you truly have given to Greenberg, because clearly, if anyone was to see any of our parks and to the contract that Councilman Sheehan mentioned with regards to sports time and all of the energy and the long nights and hours spent to making sure that this contract was where it needed to be to make sure it was right. You were driving force from that, and we supported everything because we wanted to continue with that whole spirit, and we will continue. So thank you so much for everything.
And if we're putting all jokes aside, you're invited to be a member of the Antenna Review Board with Ken.
So 12 years ago when I began this journey, one of the most memorable experiences I had was getting a call from Gerry, who wanted to take me on a tour of all the town's parks. I don't think he knew at that time what an avid park fan my wife and I are. One of the things we did the most during our courtship was take long hikes in the woods where I disclosed far too much information to the woman who would be my future wife. But that's the way walks are, communing with nature, just holding hands and walking down the winding trails underneath the trees and looking into the gorges and seeing the beautiful waterfalls. It has a way of soothing a person and making a person commune with themselves in addition while they're communing with nature. So I went with Gerry on a tour of 600 acres of parkland. And I realized, the diversity of parkland. I mean, from Bob Gold to Taxter Ridge, to Glenville Woods, to Hartsbrook. Each location is separate and special unto itself. And I really got the impression that you understood that, knew that, felt that, and wanted everyone to enjoy that. And I felt after that tour that being elected to the town board was all worth it. Just from that one experience. If I didn't do anything else, I now knew where all the parks were, how to get there. And since then, I've been in them all. I've had a great time in them all. And I owe it all to you. So thank you, Gerry. You did a wonderful thing.
Well, before I thank Gerry, I have to thank Susan. You loaned him to us for a very, very long time. And instead of us paying you, like that fee for his loan, he's paying the town back with implementing sports time because he loves parks so much. He really wanted this to happen not only as a jewel, but because of the monies that it will help to fix up the parks and maintain the parks, and that's really wonderful. So thank you, thank you, and it is a gift. Thank you. It's been such a pleasure working with you for these last couple of years. I'll miss you a lot. I'll be very happy to work with your successor, but I will miss you, so you better stay in touch. Just so everybody knows, we had Gerry, the Parks and Rec Department, had a staff retreat just this past week. And he is loved by his staff. He can be tough, but he is so respected. And there's such a warm, wonderful feeling. It's not very often that you see someone who has led for so long be so revered. And, it's no surprise. It's really no surprise. And I did that park tour, too. And it's really amazing. Greenberg is a wonderful place. And if you haven't visited the parks, you really should, because there are a lot of them, and they're so varied. And some of the terrain is very easy and soothing, and some of it is more rugged and challenging. You have it all. And thank you for growing the park so that we could have it all. Gerry, it's been a pleasure.
Yeah, I just forgot one other thing that I want to mention. One of the lessons that I learned is, and this is a good lesson for every newly elected official, is there's always a temptation when you're in office to get rid of everybody who worked for your predecessor. And I remember the first day I got elected, I was all excited because I said, I'm town supervisor, I could fire everybody, because I was pretty ruthless. So I called in, Gerry, and we met, and I was, thinking about saying to him, nice meeting you. Sorry. But Gerry was so passionate about the Parks Department and so passionate about the town that I decided that it was worth giving him, a chance. So I told him to be on probation for like 30 years or something. But I told him to be on, that would give it a try. And I think it was really one of the best decisions that I've ever made, because Gerry has constantly worked hard to, every year there's been improvements in the parks program. He's never been jaded. There's always been innovations in your department. There's been new programs. Even after you announced you were planning to step down, you've worked harder the past year than a lot of people work their entire careers. You work day, night, weekends, holidays. You really did an amazing job, and your service is really tremendously appreciated. And Greenberg will not be as good a place without you as commissioner. Thank you.
Could I just state that in looking over PR1 and also the proclamation, there's no mention of sport time in there. So I would move that we amend PR1 to include the work that Gerry has done to make sports time, we haven't voted on it yet, but make sports time a reality. I would even suggest modifying the proclamation to include it as well. Because I think that is particularly since, there was so much effort to make it happen before you do retire, I think it's appropriate to do that, and I make that motion.
That's second.
All in favor?
Aye.